Hey, Shalom, 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 want to start off source by giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Bashem Rakak Dash, the blondes, the apostles of GMS, and honesty, brothers doing the work in truth, war, sincerity. This is a quick one, and that is it's going to be titled something to the effect of, no job is a good job, right? And that's here in this society because we'll get into it. Let me get this first as it's hot on my head. Right, this is Micah 2 and 10. Right, it says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." Right, so this ain't our rest. Right, you ain't ever gonna find anything here that is, that completes you, that makes you feel satisfied, that's whole. Right, because while you're there, right, you're gonna be worked like a slave. Right, you're gonna be you may have to oversee some practices that you ain't entirely down with, right? You might be a salesman and then your boss is telling you to not sell, not to tell customers about certain things, but scriptures say, if I'm not mistaken, if you're selling something, right, you got to be honest about, it makes sense, you got to be honest about what it is. If there's a defect, look brother, I want to sell this to you, but before I sell it to you, you need to know X, Y, and Z, right? Whereas where you're working, it may be like, don't tell buyers about this thing, right? So it says, "Rise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction." Right, and the higher up you get in this man's society, the more money he pays you, right? He wants to start polluting you, right? Whether might physically pollute you, sticking things in your rectum, right? And that's just the real of this society. You got to sell your soul to really make it, right? Get this real quick. This is Matthew 16 and 26. It says, "For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" Right, and that's to get up in this world. You gotta lose your soul. Like I said, you gotta sell out. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. Right, it says, or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Right. So like I said, you gotta sell out to make it in this world, because this world ain't designed for us. This world isn't our rest. It's it's a place of our captivity, right? This is Baruch 3 and 8. It says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us." So it's the Lord that has put us in our captivity today, right? He says, "For a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments." So that's all the bills we got to pay, right? And that's because ultimately this isn't our rest, as we just read, right? And that's the point. This ain't our rest, right? It says to be subject to payment. So every you got to pay the bills. You got to you get your paycheck, and immediately as you get it, you've got outs and outs and outs and outs. Right, it says, "According to all the iniquities of our fathers," right? That's why we're in the predicament that we're in, because we went off, right? And just like how we getting punished for going off, these heathens are gonna get punished for, touching the men of the Lord, right? The children of the Most High, right? It says, "which departed from the Lord our power," right? So we read that. Right, but this is the point why no job is a good job, right? Because Israel, we're kings and priests, right? This is Revelations 1 and 6, right? It says, "And hath made us kings and priests unto the Most High," right? And this unto God and His Father, to be to Him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Right, and that's talking about Yahushua. He's made us, He's made us kings and priests. Right, which is what was spoken of in I think I got it precepted here, in Exodus 19 and 6. It says, "And ye shall be unto," Exodus 19 and 6 says, "And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation." Right, these are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. Right, so that's the fulfillment, as it says, this is the fulfillment, Revelation 1 and 6 of Exodus 19 and 6, right? Says that, and that's who really Israel is. We're a nation of kings and priests, but right now we having to work, right? But in the kingdom, I will read Isaiah 60 and 10. Says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Right, so the sons of strangers, and that's, it's talking about these heathens. They're going to build our walls, the walls of Jerusalem. They're going to be servants under us, just like how Israel built this city, right? They're going to build, They're going to build, our cities, right? And that's just only fair, right? And that's also fulfillment of scripture. This is Deuteronomy 30 and 7, right? It says, and Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thee, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So, and you read Psalms the 83rd chapter, right? That's basically all of these heathen nations, and all of these curses are going to go upon them, right? So this is the real state of things. The children of Israel are meant to be a kingdom of kings and priests, but right now we working, right? Let me get this in Ecclesiastes 10 and 7. So I've seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth, right? And those servants are these Edomites. They're in a position of power, right? Horses represent power, right? These Edomites, being these so-called white people, they're in that position, yet they're not supposed to be in that position, right? Look at what's happened to the earth. That's how you know, right? Proverbs 29 and 2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn, and people are mourning. That's why people are on drugs. That's why people comfort eat. That's why people, constantly doing things that are symptomatic of trying to escape, because deep down they know something ain't right. Right? He says, I've seen servants upon horses and princes, right? Yasha Allah, he is the prince of the power, right? It says, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. And right now that's what we're doing. We're in servitude. Well, we're slaves. Why? But we're slaves because, as I read in Baruch, we're slaves because I went off. We went off. Right? This is Deuteronomy 28 and 48. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee. And that's, like I said, that's what we're doing. We're serving our enemies, right? Currently it's the Edomite, the so-called white man, right? It says, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. You can't do anything without this man, right? You want to start a business, you got to register it with with his government, right? You want to do it under radar, you got to use his money, and then eventually he'll find you. Then you got to pay taxes. And what does the scripture say? What did Yahushua say? He said, render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's, right? It says, and in want of all things, it says, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee, right? So no matter what it is, Esau's aim is to destroy you, right? As we read over there in Micah 2 and 10, for instance, it says it shall pollute you until it has destroyed you, right? And that's what being in this man's system will do, right? He's going to want to put you in servitude. So, you might have, a job that pays you $100,000 a year. I mean, I ran into a woman like last year, right? I was just talking to her, whatever, what have you. She worked at one of those massive accountancy firms. When I'm talking to her, she sounds like she's getting, she's getting paid, right? A good money, especially considering where I bumped into her. She was a local, so I know she was on money, right? And the age where she was planning to retire, I'm like, she must have been on like six figures, right? Hundreds of thousands of pounds. But then she's like, look, I can't leave at 5, right? Because if I, a 9 to 5 shift, right? She's like, if I leave at 5, everyone's looking at me sideways. Slavery, right? And what else? She was like, one day she worked from 7 a.m. in the morning till 12 at midnight, right? Slavery, right? And in that time, she only got paid from 9 till 5, but the company got paid all of that extra hours, right? Like I said, slavery, right? And that's just what it is with this man's society. He wants you to be a slave, right? But in our society, man, people are going to get their paycheck at the end of the day, right? We're going to be dealing justly, right? The people are going to be happy, right? It says Romans 8:17 says, and if children, then heirs, right? It says heirs of the Most High and joint heirs with Yahushua, right? If so be that we suffer with them, that we may be also glorified together, right? So we're going to be joint heirs. Lord's will be those men. We're going to be joint heirs with Yahushua, right? And that's the position, that's the role that really we're, looking to fulfill, right? Not any role that this man can offer you in this kingdom, because ultimately what's going to happen, right? This is 2 Peter 3:11, right? It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, right? So everything here is going to be dissolved. Those nuclear missiles are going to come, right? And they're going to melt everything, man, right? They're going to melt Esau's economy. They're going to melt, Esau's cars, if that's what you lust for, right? They're going to, melt Esau's high-end luxury clothing, whatever, what have you. Which all of that has nothing in contrast to what the kingdom can offer. The scripture says, no eye hath seen, right? So you've seen the car, you've seen the Gucci, you've seen the Louis Vuitton, right? But you ain't seen anything that the Lord has prepared. Right? Scripture says, in my Father's house are many mansions. And that's talking about the different planets, right? So if the Lord has different planets, then that's immediately greater. The Lord has chariots, right? He says that we'll be beamed up into those chariots and saved in those chariots. How does that even compare to anything that Esau has to offer, right? It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be, right? So, it's something that takes time to get used to, right? Because on the one hand, scriptures say live day by day, right? Matthew the 6th chapter, give us this day our daily bread, right? Take no thought for tomorrow, right? But on the other hand, you can't, just be reckless and just be like, yeah, whatever, right? You still go to work, right? Which means if you ain't got a job, you got to apply for a job, or as apostle Tahar's been going into, use one of those app-based jobs, your Ubers or whatever, what have you, right? You still have to have a general idea, but on the the main point is knowing that this place is going to be destroyed, right? And doing your best to live day by day, right? And that's ultimately what it goes to. When you have understanding of these things, then when certain ill befalls you, you're kind of like, meh, I was expecting it. You may have a job, and then you go in the next morning and they're like showing you a video of you at camp, cursing at homosexuals or whatever. It's like, look, man, we can't, you can't work here anymore, right? And that's, really understanding that, yeah, you got a plan, but you also got to know, look, I don't even know what I'm doing. That's why you read James, it says, Lord's will, right? Because you don't know what the Lord has in store for you, right? You plan to do something and the Lord's like, nah, right? So Lord's will have explained that bit, properly, because main point is you don't know what you're doing, right? It's up to the Lord, right? It says Sirach 13:4, it says, if thou be for his profit, he will use thee, but if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee, right? You see that with, say, the Brexit negotiations, for instance, where they're saying, look, only highly skilled people, as in this is the proposal, right? They're saying after Brexit, only highly skilled people, earning over, one figure saying 30,000, another figure saying 50,000 are able to come, right? But anyone basically saying anyone below that, oh, unless they're things we need like builders and nurses, right, and fruit pickers, unless it's those two, yeah, no, you're okay. Basically, what Esau has need of you, right? But as we saw with the Windrush, right, as we saw over there in we saw the Windrush, Esau needed the Benjamites coming over in England to help build this place up after the war, right? But then there was no need. He was like, fuck off, right? It says, but if he have nothing, he will forsake thee, and that's what he did, right? It says, if thou have anything, he will live with thee, right? He'll suffer you, right? It says, yea, he will make thee bear and will not be sorry for it. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee and smile upon thee and put thee in hope. He will speak thee fair and say, what wantest thou, right? And that's what, you get into any of these jobs and these roles, right? Esau's just he's gonna use you, and as long as you're of purpose and of use, right, he will smile at you, right? Or maybe he'll smile at you in your face, and as soon as you leave, the room or whatever, he's cursing you out to the other managers or whatever, right? That's just the nature of this, man. That's just the nature. Even if it's white Jakes, right? Even if it's Jakes, right? So I'll end with this. Sirach 7:7 says, surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and the gift destroyeth the heart. Right, in these roles, right, you're oppressed. You can't do things the way you want to do it. You see them making dumb decisions, and you're saying, nah, that makes no sense, and they don't want to hear you. Right, that's oppression. Right, because at the end of the day, right, you come into this truth, you start having a ruling class mentality. Why? Because you're supposed to be a, we're what do you call it, kings and priests in training, right? As the elder brother in our camp, speaks on every now and then, he's like, you be going around, just thinking, how could I build this, right, in my kingdom, in the kingdom, my city or whatever. How can I build that, right? Why? Because we're kings and priests in training. So then to have someone do something stupid and you can't correct them on it, right, you just got to go along with it. That's oppression, and it pisses you off, right? Yet another reason showing and proving, right, that there is no such thing as a good job, right? So Lord's will, that was edifying. Till the next time, Shalom.